Yeah, it came off right here. Oh, he grabbed it. That was interesting. There's one on the OSP Metal Blade Jig. What's up, everybody? It's Hippie with a hookup tackle, and I'm out here with my boy CJ. It's been a while since we've been in the boat together. Good to have you back, brother. We are fishing the OSP Metal Blade Jig. So I'm gonna break it down on how I like to fish it and show you guys the ins and outs of the bait. Let's roll. If you're fishing on a place that looks similar to this, has a lot of stuff in the water, you know, laydowns, things in that nature, and you're used to, you know, flipping a jig or something a lot slower, it's harder to cover a lot of water, right, to find good sections. So there could be, you know, this 1 mile section is good, it's full of laydowns, but to find that, you got to cover a lot of water. So with the jig, you might not find as many productive areas. So with the Metal Blade Jig, it allows me to cover more water and find those more aggressive active fish in these style of scenarios. And then once I find them, you know, and I get in a good area, I can slow down if I need to and be more productive. What's nice about the Metal Blade Jig is it has a weed guard, so I can really fish this bladed jig, you know, in places where I can't get some of the other ones, and I can skip it under there and, you know, kind of slow down my retrieve and kind of feather it through some of these trees and that kind of stuff. Go. Come on, baby. Get out of there. There we go, sick. On the OSP Metal Blade Jig, just winding it over laydowns and the nasty stuff. So you can see, we got some gnarly stuff in front of us, just a big laydown and trees have been blown over. And I'm just hopping this thing over there like you would a swim jig. But what's nice about this Metal Blade Jig is it's got that weed guard so I can get it in and out of the stuff. There's a nice one. Ready? There we go. OSP Metal Blade Jig. Up tight in the gnarly stuff, CJ. Another nice one. That thing comes through all the cover. Oh yeah. All right, let's talk about gear a little bit. When it comes to a bladed jig, again, two different scenarios: open water, submerged grass, or up really tight around cover. You know, I mix it up. If I'm fishing open water, I like 20 pound, you know, glass rod, that kind of stuff. But when I'm in and around this, I still want a parabolic rod, but something shorter that has a little bit of backbone. So for me, Daiwa Zillion 6'8", that's a 6'8" medium. And then I'm throwing 16 pound today and that OSP Metal Blade Jig. A lot of misconception when it comes to a bladed jig because it does have a single hook, right? A lot of people think, you know, you need a stiffer rod for this application, but think of it as a square bill crankbait, right? If you're winding a square bill around, you know, wood and that kind of stuff, you want that glass rod or that softer parabolic bend, because if that fish comes up and grabs it, you know, and you react too quickly with that stiffer rod, you're just gonna pull it out of their mouth and not necessarily be efficient working in and around this cover. So softer rod gives them more time and gives you more time and keep those fish pinned. There we go. Another one on that OSP Metal Blade Jig. Getting it, baby. And another one. a really unique bladed jig. You can get it through so much cover, and you know, that design in that blade gives it really good vibration, and these fish can't stand it, buddy. Sick. All right, guys, we just wrapped up a super fun day of fishing on this guy right here. This is the OSP Metal Blade Jig. As you guys can see, we fished around super tight cover and, you know, lay downs and some gnarly stuff, places you can't get a chatterbait or a bladed jig, but this one did it flawlessly. Let's break down some key components on this bait and why we can fish it the way we did today. The first thing I want to talk about is this blade. So the OSP Metal Blade Jig features this coffin style blade, you know, kind of cut out here. And what that does is it makes the bait vibrate tighter. So you're going to get that traditional vibration that you're looking for in a bladed jig, but not so much like this and more like this. Why that is so good is when you're fishing it around, you know, the gnarly things we did today, it prevents that bait from rolling all the way over, okay? So you have that super tight wobble. Also with that weed guard, makes it weedless. It has a U shape built into the blade here, and what that does is when that bait is working, it's hitting the side of the head, creating that different sound than other chatterbaits. So now you have a weedless, unique sounding chatterbait. What makes it a little bit better, most baits or chatterbaits have a worm keeper, you know, collar. This one has a little hole. You see that little hole there? So once I put my bait back on there like that, I take a toothpick, I run it through there and break it off, and you have a built-in keeper, and your plastic's gonna stay on there a lot longer. You know, this style of bait is known to tear up some plastics throughout the day. So this is gonna, you know, make you a bit more efficient on the water. So when it comes to trailers, I like to have a couple different variations. Working it over these limbs and stuff, I didn't really want that boot tail to kind of hang up and stuff. So I went with a OSP Dolive Stick, 4.5 inch. That just allows the bait to be more streamlined and super, you know, finessing, and get through there and not get hung up on stuff. So I get that meat and that body that I'm looking for, but nothing kind of restricting me or hanging me in the rear. So that OSP Dolive Stick helped me a lot when I wanted to do that. If I wanted a more wide wobbling action kind of to slow me down, or maybe I got to some of these points and stuff where there wasn't a lot of structure, that's when I went to the OSP Dolive Shad. So both really good options. You know, if you want to keep it nice and tight and more streamlined, go with the OSP Dolive Stick. If you want more wobble, kind of bigger profile, push a little bit more water, check out the OSP Dolive Shad. Kind of a 1-2 punch there. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Me and CJ had a blast filming it for you guys. This is gonna be a key player in my arsenal. If you're already fishing a vibrating jig and you have cover and you wanna try it, because I know this thing can be a bugger sometimes and hard to get in and out, check out the OSP Metal Blade Jig. I think you guys are gonna love it. See you on the next one.